Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the white girl swag. The what? The white girl swag, man. Swag, man. Hi, my name is Danielle, and I represent the...
Chasing Becky?
Negative.
Never heard of it.
Yes.
Yep. I've not heard of that term. I've heard of the song by Plies called Gimme That Becky.
Not really.
Never.
It's the first time I've heard it as such, but thank you for enlightening me.
Okay.
No.
That's some nasty skank ass shit right there, chasing Becky. I don't know what the fuck that means, man.
Yes, I have.
The girls all start to hate. Baby, it's just too late. Cause now we up in VIP. I'm swagging with your date. Me and your boo get busy. Then you start to get pissy. You try to throw your...
When you hear the term chasing Becky, what does that mean to you?
TLC said don't go chasing waterfalls. So would that be like that?
So Dirty Red.
In today's terms, is pretty much a black man after a white woman.
It refers to white women or white girls, and I guess maybe guys chasing after them.
In my opinion, it's chasing a certain ethnicity, such as white girls. Snow bunnies.
Chasing Becky, to me, I chased a lot of Becky in my day.
Like fighting me, dog. Like fighting me is like fighting sandpaper. You know what I'm saying? I will scratch the shit out of you.
Becky, to me, is a white girl. I used to date a girl named Becky. She was Sarah Palin white. Sarah Palin. Shout out to Sarah Palin daughter on Dancing with the Stars too. You cannot dance.
It's funny. It's funny when I first got to ASU. That's all, you know, all the Kappas had white girlfriends. The fraternity I ended up pledging.
Now we here today to talk about chasing Becky. That's basically niggas who only date white women.
Now, baby, can you hold my drink? I'm about to hit the floor.
With white women, it's like, you know, you feel as though you can keep them in line, kinda.
Some stereotypes about the white woman.
Stereotypes about the white women. They got good credit.
They're easy. They're very passive.
White women are quick to have sex. They love sex.
They're kind of weak.
Already view black men as having the big dome.
They do tend to bow down a little bit more than a black woman would.
I know you out there listening. I think that white women have a lot of respect and a great fear for black men.
They are submissive. I have to keep going back to that word. I mean, I've been in a situation where myself and a white woman had been right there with the man that we were both interested in, and some of the stuff that he said, I'm like, no, that is not going to work. Hold on. And she's like, oh no, yes it will, yes it will. And it's totally crazy.
Hi, my name is Danielle, and I represent the QC. I know you heard my music, and they say I'm such a cutie. I know you like my swag. I got this in the bag. Now let me introduce you to the white girl swag. Baby, let me see you do the white girl swag. White girl swag. What white girl swag? Baby, can I see you do the white girl swag? White girl swag. What white girl swag?
So I think that white women like the chase, the thrill, the rebellion of the whole thing.
To me, I don't really see this dating because black people are just using the white girls for money.
You know why? Cause all the bitches love me. Hey. Cause all the bitches love me. You hear what he said?
You guys are very, very accommodating. I appreciate you. I have to say, I was in the same situation once before. I really was. I needed some groceries. I called over Becky. I was like, Becky, I need you to come over here with it and do something good for me. She was like, do something good for me? Like, what do you want me to do? She didn't say it like that, but kinda. I was like, well, I need you to give me some groceries. You know what I mean? I need some eggs, bacon. You know, black people eat that food that'll kill you in 2 years. I was like, I need eggs, bacon. Give me some sausages, all pork. Don't fuck around, Becky. I mean, don't F around, Becky. She came over 30 minutes later. Not with just the pork and all that. She also came with some juices, Gatorade, water, and gave me $50 for lunch. I love you, Becky, for that. She'll come because she back. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. No, honestly though, Becky. And I'm saying Becky as a white girl, and I apologize. I'm mad at myself right now for using that term. But Becky's are accommodating when it comes to some of those things. Now, just imagine if he called Sharquenta. She's not bringing them groceries over.
White girl swag. Baby, can I see you do the white girl swag?
One of the biggest ones that I hate hearing this is that we're all ghetto.
You know, when you date a black woman, there's baggage that comes along with it.
Because sissies are groomed to think a certain way.
How are we groomed to think?
I think that on the defense of a black woman, it's kind of hard because, you know, back to what I said about not knowing your father, you know, you don't have an example on how to treat a man and how to love a man.
Even some of the like black guys I talk to, like I won't date a black woman because just how they act, you know.
Black women were raised real strict, you know, like church going, and you know, you don't give your virginity to nobody, and if they can't buy you this, then you can't give them that.
I think it's absolutely, can I say bullshit? Mm-hmm. Okay, I think it's absolutely bullshit, okay?
A really common one about black women is how they have a lot of attitude.
Black women are usually stereotypical, stronger, more aggressive, more opinionated women.
Okay.
Where white women are more passive, less opinionated.
Has that been your experience?
My mother is a black woman and she's very strong and very opinionated. Now, if I could say, do most women fall into that category, I'd have to say yes. But that doesn't go for everybody, but the odds usually go that way.
Just having babies, you know, like the daddies are not in the, you know, in the picture and stuff like that, things like that.
Low. We don't aspire for anything.
What's your grade point average, Tia?
3.7.
Okay, that's not very ignorant.
No.
Not very, ghetto or...
Not at all.
Very, very much unlike the stereotype.
Right.
They're either too loud, too mean, too augmentative, too needy, too materialistic, or carrying too much excess baggage.
Wait, that's any race though. Hispanic women could be full of drama. White women could be full of drama. It's not just black women alone.
I've experienced that. I met a guy in the club. He asked me, was my hair real? I was like, yeah, my hair is real. He was like, because usually I don't date black girls because they don't have no hair.
Voluptuous and curviness.
Of course, some black girls have bigger butts, but...
That's true to some parts are true, but other parts is really not.
Our black mothers is just as much as guilty as pushing the black family away. It's set in the early age to compete and to step in front of your mate. Black men look at black women as being evil, strong-willed, and unapproachable.
I don't think black women are to blame for anything that one does with their life. So.
Why do our black men blame our black women for the choices? Well, in my opinion, I think the black man blames everything on everybody anyway.
He forgets where he comes from. The men get stuck on weakness. You know, I love my black men, but I have to really tell it, some black men just can't take a strong black woman.
Black men who date just predominantly white women, I see it as a weakness. I said this before, I'll say it again.
We're opinionated. I would say we're opinionated people. We usually stand up for what we believe in. We're not the type to just, you know, fall back and just, okay, baby, you know, things like that. If I feel like something is wrong, I'm going to speak up about it, and I might speak up about it more than once if you don't change when something is wrong. So I think black guys feel like it's too much pressure or it's nagging.
Now, one thing about our black women is they hold their man accountable. See, and this is probably a big chunk of why black men stray off to the white side, because when you take and hold a man accountable, that takes away his control. And black man is all about control.
We're ghetto queens, that we're welfare queens, that we thrive on food stamps and Section 8.
I love you black women, especially the ones who got food stamps. And I am looking for Section 8. I know it's the first of the month, and y'all about to get y'all food stamp card. Oh, matter of fact, it's a bunch of them here. I'm going to get off this interview because there's a bunch of sisters that just got their check. And I want to go home with them because they got food and Section 8. Holla!
Bring it back real slow. Then they begging me for more. I know they
Wow. I don't know where to start with the stereotypes of black men. One is that they're fine, that they're strong, that, and excuse me for saying this, but they're well endowed.
Most white women think that black women are crazy, ghetto, greedy, having babies, living on welfare, and just plain old lazy. They don't cook, they won't clean, roaches all over the place. I mean, this is what they see, and this is what black man is telling them. I mean, we come up with all kinds of excuses why we do what we do.
They're all like rappers or drug dealers, or they're all good in sports maybe.
They expect you to either play football or basketball or try rapping, which I don't do either one of those. So it's kind of like, you better be athletic and like chicken and wine. So.
Black men rob people?
Let's take the stereotype of, if you see somebody black, they must be involved in crime because so much crime comes out of black communities. If you go to the poorest black communities in my hometown of Detroit, for example, or Chicago, or Pittsburgh, or South Phoenix, low-income Hispanics and blacks, less than 10% of the people are engaged in criminal activity. At Arizona State University, we had a riot where several hundred white students attacked some black students because they thought one of them had whistled at one of their girlfriends. It turned out there was some other black who was not a student who did that, but they attacked them because they had the stereotype that any black would have done that. It was wrong.
I don't know these stereotypes of white men.
Uptightness. White men are Republicans?
Stereotyping is wrong.
I feel like stereotyping something that, while not necessarily right, is kind of hard to get away from, just because you generalize people regardless of, if it's not their skin color, it's going to be how they're dressed or something else.
But when you have an economic environment in which people are competing for fewer jobs and you have a high unemployment rate, that's when hostile stereotypes can come into play again. Now, if enough people challenge a stereotype, it becomes a social movement. It could be a civil rights movement. This goes back to the beginnings of the country. The American credo is the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women, but it says all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We've had that belief. At the same time, the Constitution, first article, section 2, says right there we have involuntary servitude, slavery, and blacks were counted as 3/5 of a person for representation, but no rights. We pulled out the Union Army in the South, and in the southern states, they reestablished formal de jure segregation by law. And blacks were separated from schools, they were separated in jobs, they couldn't vote. They had special tests to make sure that they couldn't. And then the Ku Klux Klan would periodically lynch people because they said a black was looking at a white woman, to make sure blacks wouldn't challenge them, really to frighten them. But we had a lot of people lynched in a lot of states, mostly in the South, but also in northern states as well, until 1947. It was absolutely, you'd be arrested if you got married and you happened to be blacks and white, whether it was black male and white female or white or the other way around. The Supreme Court said that is not constitutional. But that doesn't mean all the attitudes have changed.
Media is very influential anyway, especially to, I'm not saying people are brainless, but I think that they will let themselves be influenced by the media a lot of the time.
I think some stereotypes could be created through it, like just because a lot of people would see the opinions of a few individuals, and that would give more power to those opinions.
Mostly families and communities do the passing on, but the media can influence it, and part of the issues in the media is how are blacks portrayed, how are Hispanics portrayed, how are women portrayed, and instead of always saying like women, they're flitty and they can't drive, and show them in a variety of ways that counter that. And that's where the media can have a positive influence if they begin to challenge or at least show the people in a variety of roles rather than pigeonholing them, which is stereotyping in a very narrow sense. Yeah, the media can both reflect and influence what happens. The media has traditionally simply gone along with the idea of blacks being, instead of in a hostile way, being funny and being kind of tripping over themselves, but not really taking a leadership position in corporations or even a union leader or in the army. That has begun to change, but the view, if you look at the comedies, was until recently really a pigeonholing, which again is stereotyping in a very narrow kind of a way, and the way they would often view blacks is in laughable terms, really, and that's okay. Humor is great, but that isn't the problem in itself. It's when other roles aren't shown. I mean, it's probably a good thing if you can show in Hollywood blacks being the bad guys, because for a while they were showing them as stupid and ignorant and not in any other role. At least if they're bad guys, they have a different role. And but you want them also as good guys. You want them in just like white Protestant males or Anglos generally, you want them the whole range of from low income to high income to everything in terms of attitudes, conservatives, liberals, I mean the whole spectrum. That's when you break down
Now,
stereotypes.
baby, can you hold my drink? I'm about to hit the floor. Baby, let me see you do the white girl swag.
It's a dangerous thing, getting married. It's a wonderful thing, but it's a complex thing. And if a black man thinks that he can be happy with that person who is white, got all the right in the world to do it, to try it, but it might be complex. I wish life were less complex.
You expose children to the whole world and you make them realize that like the world is bigger than where their hometown, like where they live, that they understand more that like it's not okay to be that way, and you have to work with other people, not just people that look like you or are from where you're from, because there's people from all over the place and the world's like really huge.
And it depends on your environment that you grow up in. Like I grew up in Casper, Wyoming. It's a small town with like 2% minority population, so I mean there like the parents have to work even harder to explain to the kid that the world's a diverse place and it's not like your hometown. So that's why I think people from those type of backgrounds should really try to get out. I mean, you don't want to live somewhere else, but you need to travel to other places so you can see what the world's really like.
That there's more functional Caucasian households than there are black households, and I think that more white men and more white women are better prepared to maintain a relationship and have better examples of relationship than the majority of African Americans or any other minority. Because from what I've seen.
Well, coming from an interracial relationship with my parents, I've kind of just grown up colorblind anyway. So it's never been an issue. I've never noticed it until somebody would point it out and saying that it's abnormal or different. So I've never really been subject to any type of racial things like that. I mean, I guess it probably would have been different if I had the same race and family, but it really hasn't been an issue for me.
I don't think there's anything wrong with interracial dating, but to solely just go after one person because of because of what you hear other people saying, I think that's stupid.
I have no problem with it, obviously. I don't think it's something to really be frowned upon. I think it's great.
In some ways, it's kind of, I can see where black women can be hurt or affected by this, because it's like black men through the years, definitely through the civil rights movement and through slavery, it was a black man and a black woman helping one another get through these times and push forward. So it's like when a black woman sees a black man with another woman, it's like with a white woman or another race, it's kind of like a, you know what I mean? Like, so that's why I feel as though some black women may be affected by it.
Black women, they're not reaching out to us anymore either. So, I think it's a mutual thing at this point.
I've only heard people talk about, like, I've never been with a certain race, so I want to be to see what it's like, and that's about it. I've heard that sort of talk before.
I'm kind of a person where if it's your life, live your life how you want to. I have no problem with interracial relationships.
It's not, some people feel like it's disrespect, some people don't feel like it's disrespect, but I know when I was raised up, it was like a bad thing. Like, you better not go date a white girl and come back here with her and expect me to like her. And then I also grew up knowing what people would say, well, if you date a white girl, that's like a slap to your mama's face. Because your mama's a black woman, and if you can't accept your black mom, but you'll accept the white girl, that means you can't accept no sisters either. So I feel like, at the same time, that's kind of disrespect to the race. And but I don't knock people who date white girls, because that's what you want, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody dates somebody.
Why you pointing at me when you said that's what you want?
Because I'm just, she light-skinned, but she
just got way, it
got personal. I wasn't saying
it got way too serious right now.
That's
it.
You gonna fight me or something?
They want to have a caramel baby, so that's the only way.
Why would you want to date this woman who you really don't know anything about, other than having that status of, yeah, I have a white woman on my arm?
Well, I would have to say that the biggest reason and the most popular reason today for black men to date white women is the sex.
You're going to want a successful partner, or a partner who's adjacent to that mentality. So I think that's why some brothers go that route. Or people go that route here. Sisters date white guys too.
Right. Have you ever dated an African American man?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, personally, I don't have a preference with men. I mean, I think there's some attractive, there's some not. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Just like all
shapes.
Men.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter. But there's definitely been a couple of black guys.
But I feel as though in some ways it's kind of, I can see where black women can be hurt or affected by this, because it's like black men through the years, definitely through the civil rights movement and through slavery, it was a black man and a black woman helping one another get through these times and push forward. So it's like when a black woman sees a black man with another woman, it's like with a white woman or another race, it's kind of like a, you know what I mean? Like, so that's why I feel as though some black women may be affected by it.
I think the younger people probably think it come with the territory. You get the money with your career, you probably have to go for a white woman. They probably believe it come with the territory, because they don't think they'll take anything from you, like if the relationship ends to break off, unlike a black woman.
And our world definitely says white is better. Definitely. Even for white men, our world says blonde is better. Our world says tall is better. Our world says shapely is better. Our world says this and that and this, and we just listen and listen and listen, and we take all these things in, and we don't know what we're taking in, but we've set up this criteria, and that's what we judge things on. What is the world saying?
I mean, first of all, life is too short, number one, for racism. I've never been a racist person. I don't agree with a lot of things Chinese people do, or Asians, I seen an Asian family go to P.F. Chang's. You should just stay home. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Black people go to KFC all the time.